Hey guys, on this episode, the cast let me host and all right, so I want to talk to you guys about the styles of bachata music. Do you guys know what the styles are?
Traditional.
That's one.
Romantic.
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 Do you mean sensual or its own thing?
You can honestly break down the styles into many different styles.
All right.
There's, if you go back to the basics, there will be traditional, modern, and what we call postmodern, which is remixes.
Remixes. So traditional, modern, remixes. Can I say sensual for modern? Would you guys agree with that?
It's one of the versions of
I'd say it's separate.
modern.
All right. So, let's start with traditional. What is traditional bachata?
It's the best bachata.
That's y'all's. Since it's the best bachata, John, why is it the best?
I feel it's the best because it's the sounds are from the Dominican Republic, and it's you don't really need a lot of button pressing because people are actually playing instruments and people are actually singing. So it's like to me, it's the purest form of bachata. That's one of the reasons why I love it.
Yeah, you can actually go and watch a live band play traditional bachata.
That is true.
That's the big difference.
That's
So you're not gonna go see Usher and he's gonna have a bachata remix in the back. It's not gonna work. I like traditional too. I started with that performing, but I do love a variety, and I think the reason why I'm not always down to do so much traditional is just because it's a lot faster usually. A lot of times it's faster. I get really tired really quick. Okay, so the slower the song, the easier I can take it. I'm like dead, super dead by the time traditional is over. So.
Well, I would actually argue that because to me, some of the most relaxing and calming bachata for me is traditional bachata music. I'm just in place, going in my corners.
I think it comes to style too, personal style. Everyone has their own personal style.
Yeah.
My style's crazy.
Where you at?
Crazy!
Well, what are some songs that you would recommend for someone who doesn't know what traditional bachata? What would you recommend?
Anything by Grupo Extra. Sorry.
Prince Royce.
No. we just had a lot of Sacramento in San Francisco not too long ago, so I would say Juan, obviously. He has a lot of good original traditional stuff. He is from the Dominican Republic, so you can see that. He has the roots. Other than that, traditional would be Hector Acosta,
Luis
Vargas, of course.
Oh, really? No?
Joey Veras is always good. Traditional, verging more on the modern, but still keeping a little more traditional. That's so just a few of them. Really good.
Okay, right on. And then you brought up earlier that traditional music tends to be very fast for you, and
A lot of times, yeah. Like if I go out to a festival and they're playing a lot of DJs just playing the traditional music, it's usually a little faster. So it's a lot more like I like to do more footwork type stuff than say with sensual. Sensual is obviously a little more closer, or modern or postmodern. But yeah, I feel like I want to do a lot more footwork stuff with traditional. So it changes up your style too. So that's what I like.
I agree with that. I was gonna say for traditional, it's a lot of foot movement, and I'm not that great at foot movement yet, so I prefer urban over that. It's a little easier.
so what else is different with urban or modern, postmodern bachata from traditional bachata?
Personally, I feel like it has more of an R&B feel with like the new modern bachata. So it's kind of like you're dancing to like an R&B song versus traditional where it's like just instruments going hand.
Is it wrong for me? When I think of modern bachata, I just see body rolls.
It's definitely a lot more body movement in modern bachata. But you can still do that in the traditional, not as much. For me, traditional is actually slower. Even if the song goes fast, I take it and start slowing it down, breaking down the beat. So I'm not hitting every 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm actually trying to challenge myself away from it. I'm like 1, 2, and 4, 3, 5. I just whenever I feel like.
That's why you're always offbeat. Yes! I went there.
Bachata doesn't have a specific. You can dance it on 1, on 2, on 3 if you want to. Nobody's gonna tell you either way. But no, you usually want to keep it on the one, especially living in California and everybody dances the same way. Like I said, it's a different feel. It's a challenge for me that's bachata Dominican traditional, and it's even more of a challenge for the follower because they don't expect it. It's like a kizomba where there's no specific basic. It's stepping away from that a little bit, and there's very few that can actually do it correctly.
So with the different styles of bachata, you're saying that, like, is there any kind of basic that a beginner dancer could start with?
I mean, I think the basic covers both, right? But I feel like, personally, I feel like some movements, like I wouldn't do sensual movements in a traditional song, but that's just my style. I feel like it doesn't play to the music.
I do whatever I do. To whatever
I know what I do, baby.
I don't even know what to categorize myself.
I've seen him twerk to bachata. So.
I do twerk chata
I think
on
I've seen that,
occasion,
yeah.
so yeah.
Well, what are some differences between sensual bachata and the new like remix bachatas, or are they the same thing?
Style-wise, they're pretty close. The biggest difference will be the adaptation of the different style of music, whether it's hip hop, R&B, or even some of the new ones that are in Spanish that have reggaeton and all this stuff like that.
Trap chata.
Or trap chata. It's the new thing that's coming out. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we'll,
So we know where you stand on that.
Probably not trap chata. But how do you feel about different styles of bachata?
I feel like it depends on the song for me, whether it's sensual or more urban, and as well as person, and where I am, because different people dance sensual to every song, or they want to throw that in every now and then, or even during the song it can change from sensual to modern urban dancing, and then break on that traditional footwork and go crazy.
Yeah, you're gonna think that that comes more to just like personal style too.
Yeah.
Like that, if that one person's traditional or their sensual dancing might just be you body rolling the whole time, or their sensual might just be like 50 head rolls, head roll, head loop, head roll after the loop. Like
What's wrong with it?
no, I'm saying everyone's got their own different versions of what like sensual is. So it's just, it's interesting to see. Like if you're just saying some people are just doing sensual all the time. Well, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm saying
I feel like it
anymore.
just depends on the person and where you're at. There's so many different aspects to it.
So since we're in Sacramento right now, like what styles do you typically see here?
I'd say more modern.
Sensual-ish.
I feel like we're getting into that.
No.
Like this, but not.
I don't know what.
I don't feel like it's that much.
So the one thing I've noticed is whenever we travel somewhere else, people usually tend to recognize the NorCal style. What we call the NorCal style has been very obvious. The way that I've seen it is usually a very interesting hybrid between modern and Dominican, somewhere in between. We don't really get into sensual too much up here. We don't do a lot of the body rolls and like hips and like all these dips and all the crazy things.
Speak for yourself.
I think SF is that though. Like
Except
Davis
now,
Sack.
like when we started going on maybe a year ago, it wasn't as prominent.
Is there any differences between San Francisco, Oakland, Davis, Sacramento dance styles, even San Jose?
I would say yes.
Yeah. What differences do you notice?
I think the Bay is more, I mean, it's closer to Southern California, so their style is kind of creeping up. So that's what's being promoted now, because it's the sexiest, like, latest trend, right? With,
It's
like,
the easiest to market.
yeah, but like Daniel and Desiree, it's like, oh, that's sexy, I want to do that. But that's coffee and creamer, I don't know.
You know, like
But I like cream with my coffee.
There's nothing wrong
okay.
with that.
Well, speaking of, like the sensual, sexy dance moves where there's more body roll movement like that, something I noticed is that if you're in a place where there's not that much room to dance, you tend to do that more because you can't actually
That's
move or do your footwork. Have you guys noticed that
Yeah,
before?
that's very true.
So you gotta get strong elbows.
I feel like the places I've danced in San Francisco are very crowded, so I only have like this much, so we have no choice unless you want to hit everyone.
So speaking on that space, like how do you get space when you're dancing in Sacramento versus in San Francisco?
Sacramento, there's space usually, so.
There's not enough of us.
There's a few times when you go to the Davis or the Grand, all the places
Yeah,
that are a little
there's-
smaller, it gets a little crowded. it's just maintaining your area and standing your ground and accepting the fact that you're gonna get stepped on sometimes. It just happens.
It's gonna happen.
And
I'm guilty.
the important thing, as for leaders, I usually see it this way: is that I want to protect the follower. I want to make sure that she doesn't get stepped on. And if somebody rowdy is going in there, I'm gonna like put my back out there and like maybe take a few hits and dish a few hits back.
Right.
Not on purpose.
I will take a punch. I will take a bullet. I will kill a dragon for you guys.
Where's my sword?
You know, I will make sure your backside is safe.